Hello and welcome to the Daily Show here on Claret and Booze. My name's Gary and it's a downbeat daily ramble that we've got today. West Ham are in crisis. There's no other way of putting it. David Moyes, I think he's drinking at the Last Chance Saloon, and it's only really David Moyes that can save himself. And a lot of people are growing very, very impatient. Before we start though, please give this video a watch, and if you like it, please subscribe to our channel, Claret and Booze. It helps us a lot. Give us a like and hit the bell notification icon. So, first let's quantify the problem. Why are West Ham in crisis? And I think it's pretty obvious when you look at the league table why we're in crisis. We're third from bottom after 7 games. Now, that is, first of all, not a good look. But, you know, secondly, I think having watched the game so far, I struggle to believe where the next win is going to come from. And I struggle to believe that David Moyes is going to change. But anyway, look, I'm going to try and demonstrate why I think this is a problem. I think this will, and I'm not really one to rely on stats, but this time I will, because this is a tweet that was sent out by Rashane Thomas from The Athletic, and he's a bright guy. He knows what he's talking about, and these stats are really, really meaningful. And this compares the opening 7 games last year to the current 7 games of this season. The opening 7 games. Now, it is chalk and cheese. I mean, last season, 14 goals, 12 from open play. This season, 3 goals, 2 from open play. But that's just the goals. I mean, when you start looking at some more meaningful stats, not the goals are not meaningful. We love goals. But there's a really big one that stands out in there. We've created in 7 games this year 6 big chances versus 16 in the first 7 games of last year. And that goes from, it really stems from the touches in the opposition box. So we've seen, last season, first 7 games, 187 touches in the opposition box, down to 135 this year. With successful passes, went down from 2,500 to just over 2,000. I mean, our total shots, down from 115 to 79. Now, what this tells you, again, not one to dwell on stats, but I think they're meaningful. And what it tells you, it actually paints a picture that we as a team have retreated back up the pitch. And we're being pressured by other teams. We're spending less and less time in the opponent's half, and more importantly, in the opponent's box. We're not taking shots, and you don't take shots, you don't score goals. We've tried to play a possession game using a formation or a combination of players who are unsuitable to play a possession game. And this has been, again, Nick has been running a couple of polls. Firstly, there was a Twitter poll that was run which said that 55% of fans think that David Moyes is a busted flush, right? And in 3 separate Facebook polls, and these were done across groups where you've got, one which is like an older audience, a more calm audience, if you like, to the other ones that are a bit more reactionary. There's probably, across all of those groups, an average of maybe 20% of people who still think, give David Moyes is the man, he's the one. Because people are starting to lose faith. And there are reasons for this. The approach seems to be, the first priority seems to be not to lose. So we play defensive-looking players even in an attacking formation. I mean, 4-2-3-1, that should be an attacking formation, but the way we line up is we have, Fornals on one side and Bowen on the other, predominantly there to defend. That is their number 1 priority, is defending. A distant number 2 priority is attacking. And we can see that. How poor has Bowen been in the attacking role this year? I mean, he's been non-existent, right? He's lucky to find himself picked for England, that's for sure. And any formation, if we were to play 4-4-2, not that would ever happen because it's a bit of an archaic system now, but say it did happen, right? If you play with 2 up front and you isolate them because your midfielders focus more on defending and attacking, then you're going to have the same problem. And that's the issue that we've got. And I think, when you look at what Moyes has done so far, he has spent 190 million or 180 million, whatever you want to call it, in the transfer market, and yet he continues to pick the same players, right? 7 league games so far, Bowen has played 90 minutes in all 7 games. No matter how badly he plays in an attacking sense, he's defended all right, so he keeps his place. Antonio started 6 and come on as sub once, so he's played a part in all 7 games, a big part. Again, not having to go at Antonio because he ain't the problem here. You know, that's the one player who has performed consistently, whether he scores a lot of goals or not. Soufal, who's played poorly, right, throughout. He started 6 and come on as substitute in 1. Cresswell has started 6 games. The other game he was injured. He would have started 7. Fabianski has started all 7, and again, I don't think the problem's the keeper, but I do think his distribution is a problem. Pablo Fornals. I love Fornals, but he's playing in a defensive position as a defensive player. He started all 7 games. Souček has started all 7 games. Souček, as we know, a lot of people, myself included, have got a real issue with Souček playing. He's been playing badly for, since the start of the year, and he's still in the side. He's still getting picked every single game. I mean, the two that I wouldn't moan about, I suppose, is Dek and Zuma. They've played in all the games so far. So, but then let's look at the players who are not being used. Benrahma started the season with a bang. Now, we were all, 2 out of 3 of us anyway, were pretty much Benrahma dissenters. We weren't convinced. But we also believe it's a meritocracy, right? So if a player plays well, then they deserve their chance. And he started the season with a bang. He was magnificent. He started 3 games, right? They were early. Since then, especially since Paqueta's come in, because as we know, it's illegal to play Paqueta and Benrahma in the same team. That's just not allowed. That's too much flair for David Moyes' palate. He's found himself sitting on the bench. So our best performing player has found himself sitting on the bench. Scamacca, Italian international striker, who was doing so well for his old club and wanted by PSG, finds himself sitting on the bench. He started 1. He's been subbed on 4 times. Usually when we're chasing a game and it's desperate. Downs has started 1 game in Europe. He hasn't. The only thing he's had in the Premier League is a late substitute appearance in the Premier League. Cornet has made 0 Premier League starts, but 4 sub appearances in the Premier League, during which he's done pretty well, hasn't he? Areola, the guy who the only keeper we've got with good distribution, started 0 Premier League games. Paqueta has started 2 games in the 3 since he started. The other one was a substitute appearance. But if you remember the Chelsea game, Moyes was playing Paqueta as a defender pretty much. Now, it goes back to my point. Bowen is a great attacker. Fornals can be a great attacker. Benrahma can be a great attacker, right? Paqueta can be a wonderful attacker. But if you put these players in the side and you primarily get them to defend, you're not going to get the best out of those players, and you're not going to create goals. Who else? Harrison Ashby, 0 Premier League starts. Kehrer is the only one who's come straight into the team immediately due to mainly a defensive crisis. But he's come into the team and proven himself. But he's a defender, right? He's a defender. Now, we needed a defender. But I'll tell you what we need just as much as defenders now. We need attackers, good attackers. And we need a way forward, a way to unlock teams. We've been figured out, right? We have been figured out. And there's no easy way to dress this up. Moyes has his future in his own hands. It is up to him to make the changes that need to be made. He has the parts. He has the tools available to him, right? He has all these great players. He's still, there's many routes he can take from here. But I think one of them will get him fired. If he ignores all the criticism and continues bashing away with the same players and the same formation, the net result is he'll be fired in 3 games' time. Another thing he could do is he could set up with a back 3, but still a defensive approach. He could just always put defence first. If he does that, he's going to get fired, right? Because it's going to go nowhere. Now, he's got to be brave. He's got to try and adopt an attacking approach using the players that he's got in their best positions so that they're the most effective they can be, right? He's got to use Flynn Downs, in my opinion, as the holding midfielder to free up Declan Rice and potentially Paqueta, right? He's got to try something new. And the thing is with that is if he tries something new and we can see what he's trying, right? Speaking for myself, I'll give him more time. Right? But if he continues to bash on this defensive, irrespective of what formation he plays, if he lines up with players and their job is defence first, right, then I'm going to lose patience with him. I've already lost patience with him. And if I was being honest with you, which I think I should be, I would say that my instinct is Moyes will not be brave. He will not be brave. He will go more and more into his shell and more defensive. At the same time, trying to make it look like he's going for a more attacking formation by perhaps playing a 2 up front, or perhaps, but the focus has got to be look at the defence and look at the midfield and how that's set up, right? Because if that's set up primarily to defend, then he can play up front. He can play whoever he likes up front. You can either have Antonio roaming on his own. You can even have Antonio playing alongside Scamacca. If there's no service, what's the point, right? And the point in Moyes' mind, I think, with Paqueta, for instance, a little while ago, he was talking about, I wish I had a Payet, someone that can unlock another team, because. And I think in his mind, this is a worrying thing for me, because I think in his mind, he thinks that a player that can come in and sprinkle a little bit of pixie dust and unlock a defence is all he needs. The rest of the team can say as it is, defence first, but he can put one player in there with a bit of flair and expect him to achieve miracles. Well, I'm sorry, Dave, it just ain't going to happen, right? It ain't going to happen. So, for God's sake, prove me wrong, because I personally think he's too set in his ways. When you look at the 3 games coming up, all winnable. We are West Ham. We are not Bournemouth, right? We're West Ham. We got to the semi-final of the Europa League last year. We've got a very expensive squad when you look at it. Best part of, £500 million worth of players. That is an expensive squad. This is not a team that's just been promoted. This is not a team that should be afraid of its own shadow and trying first and foremost not to lose. We're playing Wolves at home. We're playing Fulham at home. We're playing Southampton away. That is 3 winnable games. And I want to see us go and try and win those games. I don't want to see us, on next Saturday, line up against Wolves, safety first, to bore everyone's arse off in the first half, and then perhaps nick a goal on the break in the second half, because that seems to be the way we're lining up. Either that or a set piece. A set piece, and he's not even playing Craig Dawson, who's the only one who creates a problem from a set piece. But I don't realistically want to see us as a set piece team. I mean, that's a bonus. Set pieces are a bonus. We've got players now with flair who can do something, who can create damage. For God's sake, use them. Anyway, look, that's my little rant over. I'm feeling quite passionately about this at the moment. I hope he helps himself, because if he doesn't help himself, he's going to find himself looking for a new job. Of that, I feel absolutely sure. That's me done. If you've enjoyed this little rant, out of character for me, I guess, please subscribe to our channel. Claret and Booze, hit the bell notification icon and give us a like as well. Until next time, see you soon, and come on, you irons.